All right, welcome back. This will be our third video. Um, Probably tired of hearing these things by now and hearing my voice, just like I'm tired of my cat jumping up on my desk right now. Down. Um, anyway, we've learned how to create song presentations. We've learned how to create sermon presentations. Now we're going to go over how to create the announcement presentations. Once again, home computer. Shameless plug for AnyDesk. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to open that up. Really? Okay, no more shameless plugs. Okay, maybe one more. And of course, it opened like 19 times. So, anyways, here we are, AnyDesk. There's our sanctuary computer. Connect. Good thing about AnyDesk is that you don't have to, it's a static password. You don't have to get a different password every time the machine restarts, and they don't really care if you use it to connect to more than one computer, like other remote desktop software. And my cat's back on my desk. Excuse me one moment. All right, here we are. And since we're talking about ProPresenter slides, let's go ahead and open ProPresenter. The difference in announcements versus our song lyrics and our sermon notes is that the songs and sermons are basically a slide with text laid on top of them. Um, Whereas the announcements are actual images. These are um, they're mostly JPEG images, I believe, and they're all images. And what that does is that puts them on top of anything that's on the screen. So that's why we can't, like, if these were verse, like for the sermons or even for the songs, if these were song lyrics, Sanctuary would be fine, but our live stream, it covers up everything. So that's the difference between images and and then our slides down here that have an image in the background, and then we lay the text on top. So that's just the basic difference. And so our creation is going to be a little different as well. So just like for the songs and the sermons, we have a library for um, I called it pre-service, just to be a little more generic, because there are things in here that aren't announcements. There's other stuff in here that you want to set up to be pre-service, um, and this could probably be named pre and post service or anything else, because we do use these after the service, but you get the general idea. Um, just like the songs and sermons, two different ways to do it. I'm in the pre-service library. I can click the plus icon to choose new presentation, or the keyboard shortcut Control N. I prefer and encourage keyboard shortcuts, so Control N it is. And for this one, if you look over to the left, you can see we've kind of fallen into a good naming method here that's descriptive, and just try to stick close to that just for consistency's sake and ease of searching. So we're going to go announcements, and I'm just going to call this announcements tutorial. I'm not feeling very creative at the moment. Our theme for this one doesn't matter. We don't have an announcement theme because we're just laying images on top of slides, and so I'm going to go to default here, and pre-service 1080 new. Again, should look very familiar. Um, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go to edit, and now I've got this slide. So where do we get the images? And I can leave this text here. It's not going to hurt anything. As long as we don't type anything in there, we'll be okay. Um, normally the announcements are made and they're put somewhere here on the desktop. Um, if you look over here, there's a couple different ones. There's announcements folder, and I think that's going to have the individual months in it. Yeah, and and then here's the actual a PowerPoint presentation that has announcements in it. And if you click in here, you'll see the individual slides because, and I'll show you how this gets created here in just a moment. Not sure why August didn't. Oh, it did, but that's just the file. So okay, I'm going to use. Let's see, what do we want to use? Um, well, I think we're going to be not stuck, but that's not August, is it? Happy Mother's Day is definitely not August, so we'll use this one. So just pretend that this is the current month announcements PowerPoint slideshow, and we're going to use these. We can see that we've got 12, 12 slides in here. And I generally, just to be honest, I don't really pay attention to the content of them. So whoever's creating these, and not that it's a problem, just be responsible and spell check and just check behind yourself because, like I said, at this point I don't really pay much mind to them. So if you remember when we did the message title from the sermon video, we took it out of here and we turned it into a JPEG. We're going to do the same thing here. Come up to File, we'll go to Export, we're going to change file type, and we're going to choose JPEG. Again, you can use PNG, but I prefer JPEG. So then our next step is Save As. And this, if you remember, this is where these individual folders were, if you remember those. This is how you create these folders. I'm going to make inside this desktop announcements folder, I'm going to make a new folder, and we're going to call this tutorial announcements. All right, and so then we're going to, inside of that, I don't really think I need to name that, but we're going to save. And then in this case, we're going to go to all slides. So I'm going to hit that. See, okay, each slide in your presentation has been saved as a separate file in that folder. So that part's done. We can minimize this. And if we look back here, in here there's going to be an announcements folder. Okay, and there's all our individual slides as, come on, JPEGs. So what I do, and this is probably a more efficient way to do this, I'm just going to cut these, move them up to here, this level, and then just get rid of that file, that folder rather. So here's all of our slides. They're named, each time they're going to be named slide 1 through whatever. Generally speaking, that's fine. But if you look, April, slide 1 through whatever. July, well, okay, great. August, thank you, slide 1 through 11. So we can't have, remember, all the media goes into this assets folder. So obviously we can't have 12 different slide 1s. It's going to try to overwrite them. So what we're going to do is this. When we come to ProPresenter, we click this first slide and come over here to slide. We want our media, we're going to assign a media action, and this is where we're going to choose this. But not like that. No, stop it. Desktop. Remember, they're in here. Tutorial announcements. and I want it to be that. Now, when I hit open, hey, there's already a file in there called slide 1. Well, I know that. So I want to make a new version of it, and there it is. And I might have lied about that text being there. Let's delete that. So there's our first slide 1. Now I'm going to remember to duplicate a slide. I can right click and duplicate, or I can hit Control D. You know the deal. Now we have this, but why? Now what do I do? We're just going to go right here to choose, and we're going to go to slide 2. Open, new version. There you go. And one thing to take note of, it should do it by default, but when you drop these images in, right here under media behavior, make sure that's background. Because if it's not, it will mess up other things. If y'all remember the little situation we ran into where we were playing a slideshow, and when it got to a certain slide, the music would stop. That's because one of the slides had been put in and it had a foreground action or behavior assigned to it rather than background. So when it got to that slide became the foreground and the music had to go. So that's that. So we're just going to keep going, Control D. Just keep at it. I'm just double clicking those. Control D, choose, slide 4, new version. And I don't know if you've noticed, but what it's doing in new version, it's just putting a number after the file name. Like this is now slide 6 2. So um, it's not overwriting, and it's not creating anything crazy. It's just another file. And we'll keep doing this until we're utterly tired of doing it. And then we'll go on to something else. But for now, just suck it up and bear with me. We'll get them all in. Again, I'm not going back and editing and fast forwarding this. Just hang in there. All right, there's all 12 of them. Now we have this nice announcements presentation. Come back to edit, or show rather, and we're looking at it again. This should be familiar windows by now. This is the exact place that it takes you um, if we're making a song or a sermon. So what we're going to do, I'm going to select that first slide. Notice that it fires over here. Um, just like in the songs and sermons, we need to assign an action to tell ProPresenter um, how to display this slide in the various screens that we've created. So I'm going to right click, add action, audience look. Guess what? Announcements. The naming is so clever. I like it. Announcements. So now in announcements, and the way we have the announcements set up is the sanctuary and the live stream see the same thing, right? Live stream, slide, sanctuary, same slide. So yeah, that's that. Just like again, the songs and the sermons, we're going to assign a transition, dissolve, click outside the box to make it go away. And now when we go from slide to slide, well, it's still cutting. Huh. All right, whatever. We'll deal with that later. For the slideshow, though, we don't want to have to sit here and click through them. So we're going to, right here, this icon right above the breakfast one, we're going to slideshow. And I'm going to click that. And we can choose, these are the intervals between the slides. If you've ever used PowerPoint, you know what I'm talking about. And my cat is back again. Timeout. Okay, he's gone. So I think we're using a default of 10 seconds between slides. Note that that is now highlighted. And when I fire this slide If I look right here, there's this little pie that's filling up. And when it gets full, it's going to move to the next slide. Now, if for whatever reason you don't want to wait for the pie, I can just click advance and that goes away. But we're now back. When we fire the next slide, there you go. So if I want it to hold on this one, click advance. And ironically enough, it doesn't advance anymore until you refire a slide in here, and then it's on. So that's good. I'll just let it sit here just so you can watch it advance a little bit. On to the next one. And the paint's almost dry. And the next slide. So that is the announcements in a nutshell. And once you get, again, just like the songs in sermons, add it to whatever service you want, and then move it where you need it. We'll say Sunday. Come up here to Sunday. Remember, it puts them down at the bottom. Go to highlight it, move it up here, and now it's in the pre-service area to be used. So yeah, there's announcements. Thanks for watching. God bless.